People can say whatever you want. Give it your all, do your best. Yeah, for sure. Definitely give it your all every time. But winning is everything. If you want something in MMA, you go out and you literally take it. You pave your own path. You decide your destiny. Now it's time for me to take out Jones.
I have a lot to fight for. My family, my legacy. When I was younger, I was fighting to try to prove that I could be here. And now the job is to try to achieve records that are going to be really hard to beat.
Push, 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 push.
Where people my age know they'll never beat it. Guys who are 10 years younger than me, they know their chances of beating it's probably slim to none.
That is the greatest light heavyweight ever. He can knock you out. He can submit you. He closes the show on the best fighters on the planet.
Over the last year, I feel like I've proved a lot to myself and to the fans that I'm ready for the next wave of talent. One of my new goals is to see what I can do in this next decade. I want the greatest of all time conversation to not be much of a conversation by the time I'm done.
You won all these fights, you beat all these people. Now it's time for you to get beat.
Hey, John, I want that bell, baby. Let's go.
Oh, massive knockdown for Reyes.
I'm an animal, man. I'm undefeated. I'm tall. I'm fast. I'm powerful. I'm a guy that's getting better every fight.
There is a new force to be reckoned with at 205 pounds.
I have that winning mindset that no matter how tough it gets, you could always find a way. If there's time on the clock, you could win. I'm a step away from history. I'm a step away from immortality. All I have to do is abandon all fear, go out there and perform to my best ability, put my entire heart on my sleeve, and I'm gonna win.
Oh, one man down! Dominick Reyes, decisive as ever tonight!
He's a young man with an opportunity of a lifetime. My job is to let him know he's in deep water with a devastating finish. And that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Let's go, baby. And still.
He got what he asked for, and I'm going to put my hands on him. This is my house. This is mine. If you want to be a champ, go do it somewhere else.
People are tired of seeing you, and it's time for you to go. And I'm here to make that happen.
Bro, I want to get you. I'm going to get you, Dominick.
This is my night. And new light heavyweight world champion.
I want to have a great 2020, and it's going to start off by destroying Dominick.
Introducing the challenger, Dominick Reyes. Official weight 205 for the challenger. And his opponent, the reigning, defending, undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world, Jon Jones. Official weight 204 for the champion. The challenger, Dominick Reyes, you have stormed your way to the top of the light heavyweight division. Your time is now. Give us your thoughts on what it means to be facing Jon Jones tomorrow night.
H-Town, stand up. And new. Let's go, baby.
Good luck to you tomorrow night, sir. I'm here with the GOAT. Jon, another opportunity for you. At this stage of your career, we've seen you go from being the young guy challenging for the title to be recognized as the greatest light heavyweight of all time. What does defending your title tomorrow mean to you?
It means everything. Shout out to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. This fight means everything. Every fight means everything.
Good luck to you tomorrow night, sir. I can't wait to watch. Jon Jones, ladies and gentlemen.
Live look in there of UFC 247 ceremonial weigh-in as Jon Jones will make his 11th defense of the light heavyweight belt Saturday night against Dominick Reyes, unbeaten in his career, 12-0, earning in the title shot with a first-round KO win over former middleweight champ Chris Weidman in October. Here's a look at the card. Obviously, Valentina Shevchenko, a heavy favorite. If you've got a whole lot of money laying around, like maybe your grandma sent you a bunch of checks for your birthday and you saved them, they're under your mattress, take all of them and put them on Shevchenko. She's not losing that, Joe.
It did not appear so. She seemed pretty locked in there at that weigh-in.
Yeah, Shevchenko's won 4 straight, has 2 title defenses, has lost only once in her UFC career, featherweight bantamweight champ Amanda Nunes. We'll find out tomorrow night at the Toyota Center in Houston, and we're going to take you there live. Back to Houston. Brian Campbell will join us next.
Dominick starting off this whole thing with talking about party favorites and bringing up my past and stuff like that. But it's all good. We're here now. He got what he asked for, and I'm going to put my hands on him.
I've worked extremely hard to get here. My upbringing was completely different than anybody he's ever faced.
I've faced so many people with extreme knockout power. I just got to go out there and just do what I do.
Not going to happen, Johnny boy.
Great response, Dominick.
Is there a spy in my camp?
They're not that important, Dominick.
We'll see what happens, though, man. We'll see how important I am when you're on your back.
The only way you can possibly win this fight is to catch me with a left.
I don't know it, actually.
You're a one-trick pony.
You think you know.
Bro, we saw your highlight reel. It was straight left, straight left, straight left.
A lot of people, they talk about how dominant she is, and she's been a very great champion, but I think that she hasn't faced anyone with my style.
No offense to Caitlin, but martial arts, it's not just my work, it's not just my career. Martial arts, it's in my vein, and I will be here forever.
I'm going to have a great 2020, and it's going to start off by destroying Dominick.
The stage is set, and we are joined by CBS combat analyst and host of the State of Combat pod. Excuse me, Brian Campbell joins us, BC. We get Conor and then Jon Jones on back-to-back cards. Great time to be a fight fan. We watched Jones and Reyes go toe-to-toe earlier at the weigh-ins. The prevailing thought here is that Reyes will simply be outclassed come Saturday night. What did you take note of at the weigh-ins?
You know, I see a very, very confident Jon Jones, already the greatest of all time by most people's account at age 32. And this is what I needed to see out of the champion this week. If you look back at that fight he had in July of last year against Thiago Santos, a split decision win. And I think what we saw in there was Jon Jones getting a little too cute, a little too efficient, maybe playing with his food at times, maybe being unwilling to go for the finish when he had an injured opponent. It almost cost him in the end. I need Jon Jones to come back and be that champion, that dominant force that we've come to know. If he does, I think this is a fight he can, without question, maybe win with a certain level of ease. But with that said, Dominick Reyes has never lost. He doesn't know how to lose. He's got that perfect body style, 6'4", southpaw, long and lean, to really fill the mold of any guys we've ever seen who have given Jon Jones problems before. Think Alexander Gustafsson in that great 2013 brawl. Obviously, we don't really yet quite know how good Dom Reyes is, and that's why Saturday's fight has so much intrigue. He's definitely a live dog, but the champ looked ready to go.
I want to talk to you more about the champ. You know, Jon Jones is a guy who, it's well documented the struggles he's had in the past outside of the octagon. He seems to be fully moved on from those sort of transgressions, those sorts of things in his life. What can you tell us about the training? What can you tell us about the camp that led up to this for Jon Jones, as he seems to just be held up in Albuquerque getting ready for this one?
You know, I see Jon Jones talking more about his legacy than I ever have before. He's been teasing an eventual move to heavyweight, seemingly going on 4 or 5 years. Right now, that topic of conversation seems to be right there. He knows that Dominick Reyes is basically the last name remaining in this 205-pound division who could really potentially offer him a challenge. If he wins, he will have cleaned out light heavyweight, you know, historically one of the most dangerous divisions 2 times over. You want to talk about the short list of guys who've really been able to do that. You're talking the Demetrius Johnsons, the Anderson Silvas, the George St. Pierres. I see a Jon Jones who is ready to move up to heavyweight and ready, in his own words, you heard him say in that promo package, to put the idea of him being the greatest of all time so far out of reach that no one would be able to catch up with him. Now, I think what goes back to mindset, though, I've seen a Jon Jones the last few fights since coming back in December 2018 from his most recent USADA suspension, almost a guy who's protecting what he's already accomplished a little bit too much. There can be a difference, Joe, between fighting not to lose and fighting to win. Like I mentioned, though, in that last question, this week I've seen a very fired up Jon Jones. He looks dialed in. I think he likes that Dom Reyes almost has this blissful ignorance. He doesn't know how to be nervous. He doesn't know he shouldn't be at this level against the greatest of all time. You've seen a little trash talk back and forth. I think it's been enough to wake up Jon. Obviously, nothing else happens unless he beats Dom Reyes. But if he does, we could be looking at chapter 2 of his career, maybe sooner than later when it comes to the idea of moving up to heavyweight.
Very much looking forward to that one. In the co-main, it's Valentina Shevchenko and Katlyn Chookagian. What do we need to know about this one? Because when we looked at these two fighters that walked up to the scale, it looked like one was ready for a fight tomorrow night and the other one maybe was just there. Heavy favorite in this one, Shevchenko. What does she bring into this one, and how can Chookagian get this done otherwise?
You know, Chookagian's problem is, you asked me, what does Shevchenko bring to this battle? She brings everything. That's really the problem. She's the class of women's flyweight at 125 pounds. We've seen her before at bantamweight before this new division was created. She was great there, only losing twice to Amanda Nunes, the greatest women's fighter of all time in very close fights. Since moving down to her natural weight, Shevchenko's been unstoppable. You look at her last 2 fights, you've seen how both strategies can go awry for her opponents. Jessica I pressured her. What did Shevchenko do? Violent head kick knockout in the first round. And her last bout against Liz Carmouche. Carmouche was very defensive, almost fought a negative style on the outside. It was 5 one-sided dominant rounds for Shevchenko. Chookagian's got an uphill batter in her favor. She's got about a 4-inch height advantage over Shevchenko. She's got an awkward style, a lot of head movement, a lot of awkward sort of switching of stances and footwork. My biggest problem, though, Joe, is I don't see Katlyn Chookagian as a finisher. And if you can't hurt Valentina Shevchenko and really give her a reason not to come forward, not to be that strong counterpuncher, not to take the fight to the ground and dominate like she's done so consistently at this weight class, you're going to have a problem. I see Katlyn Chookagian having that same problem. The only question for me is, and you see how wide these betting odds are, is whether this fight will go the distance. It's really up to Katlyn Chookagian how much punishment she can take, how willing she is to try to do something dramatic to have that chance of victory. I think the harder she tries, the quicker she'll be out of there.
So it's Jones and Reyes led by Shevchenko and Chookagian, the co-main. But take us further down the card here. Is there a prelim that you have circled, one we should tune in for early, maybe some fireworks?
You like the heavyweight division because it can be sloppy and you know guys are going to throw hands. Don't miss this fight to open it. It's Derek Lewis. We've seen him on the title level before. The Black Beast, always fun. He's either going to knock you out or maybe get knocked out himself trying. This is a fun little matchup here against Ilir Latifi. Moving up to heavyweight for the first time, he's going to have a height disadvantage that'll be massive. But he's a tough little meatball there when you look at his size. He's a powerhouse. He can wrestle. This could be an interesting matchup because as fun as Derek Lewis is, we've seen that gas tank tested before. If Latifi can push this into the late rounds and make it interesting, I think either way, you're going to see some slop, you're going to see some power, you're going to see a KO. Always worth the watch from the heavyweights.
We know Lewis has a way of overheating from time to time as well. All right, BC, we need a couple picks. Let's start with the co-main. Anything can happen when they lock that octagon door, but Shevchenko, by all indications, seems to be the more complete fighter. How do you see this one going down?
You know, I think Chookagian will have her best moments early in this fight. It's going to be a little while before Shevchenko, who doesn't really gamble a lot. She's efficient. She's smart, figures out her rhythm. Once she does, it's going to be all downhill movement from there. I like a second-round stoppage for Shevchenko via strikes.
And Jon Jones comes into this one a heavy favorite as well. But as you said, the 32-year-old looked maybe as human as ever in his win over Thiago Santos. Do you expect a more dominant Jones on Saturday night, perhaps?
Yeah, I think he learned a lesson from that Thiago Santos fight, and certainly Santos was landing the kind of heavy power shots that sort of dissuaded Jon from walking forward. Reyes is going to have that same opportunity to do the same thing. We just don't know yet about Dom Reyes. Can he go 5 hard rounds on the title level if he needs to? Where is his chin at against a guy like Jon Jones? I think Jon Jones is going to be smart. You're going to see a lot of leg kicks from the outside. But the key for me, if he goes back to his wrestling to look to set up a finish, Jon Jones could dominate Dom Reyes. I like a 3rd-round submission win for Jon, taking him down, choking him out, and another dominant win for this legendary light heavyweight champion.
Another dominant segment for Brian Campbell. Rock solid as always. We appreciate it, pal.
Thank you.
For all of your pre- and post-fight needs, be sure to download and subscribe to the State of Combat podcast. Brian Campbell welcomes in some of the biggest names in combat sports every week to offer unique insights anywhere punches are being thrown and scores are being kept. That's the State of Combat podcast, available everywhere all major podcasts can be found.